It's time for media meltdowns, and the Democrats and the leftist media, they don't know what to do with themselves. Now, Donald Trump has pulled off a miracle by bringing the war in Gaza to an end. Many are refusing to even acknowledge the president's enormous success here, and it's because they didn't want Donald Trump to succeed. Of course, any normal person would want to see the war come to an end, but Donald Trump pulling it off, you can just see it with the Democrats. They're like, not him, because they have spent years telling us that Donald Trump would be the one starting wars. Here's Hillary Clinton on the night she lost the election.
This is not someone who should ever have the nuclear codes, because it's not hard to imagine Donald Trump leading us into a war just because somebody got under his very thin skin.
Okay, that was a while ago, but what about Kamala Harris? What did she say during the election campaign last year?
It is very well known that Donald Trump is weak and wrong on national security and foreign policy.
Wrong on foreign policy. Okay, and here is Jasmine Crockett having a meltdown as Donald Trump continues to work around the clock, working as hard as he can to try and bring the war between Russia and Ukraine to an end.
Yo, this is literally potentially putting us into an international crisis. We may be heading towards the next world war because we have a president that wants to pal around with Putin and wants to do everything to make him feel good, including lying about who invaded who.
Why is she yelling? Just so much yelling, and of course she's an idiot. But it's not just Kamala Harris or Jasmine Crockett telling us that Donald Trump would be the one starting wars. Here is CNN and MSNBC, and of course all the leftist media outlets, they have been rooting for the president to fail. Here's MSNBC's Rachel Maddow having a meltdown just like Jasmine Crockett did as the president works to end the conflict between Russia and Ukraine.
But this is one other thing to watch. If we really are now abandoning the free world and lining up instead with the world's dictatorships, and Trump is unwilling to even explain why, just watch. The American people are going to have some feelings about that too. Just watch.
Rachel Maddow, it is called the art of the deal. And as we've just seen, Donald Trump has pulled off a miracle in the Middle East. I mean, if there is anyone on the planet right now who could end this war between Russia and Ukraine, it's Donald Trump and Steve Witkoff. And here is CNN's Dana Bash just a few months ago insisting that Donald Trump just doesn't understand the conflict in the Middle East, even suggesting that Americans should have never believed the president when he said he would end the war and get the hostages out.
The premise of this whole conversation was an expectation that Donald Trump himself set in the campaign, which is, I'm going to fix all of this. And a lot of people believed it. It turns out even the Hamas terrorists, apparently, who were holding hostages. The war is definitely not over, and not all hostages are out.
Not all hostages are out. And again, another thing that Donald Trump said would end. But the rest of the world is saying Donald Trump cannot be trusted on these issues where America used to lead. There is American leadership here. It's Netanyahu, do whatever you want. It's not, how do we end this? Where's an American president to try to figure this out? He just wants Gaza emptied so they can build hotels.
I think it's the same idea of what we were talking about with Ukraine, is that he didn't understand why it wasn't being done before he was there. Then he got into office and realized, wow, this is really, really hard. No. And now he's turned his attention elsewhere.
It's not black and white.
That's what's happening.
Yeah.
Wow, what excellent analysis from CNN's Dana Bash. Is she going to apologise for those comments? Yeah, we won't hold our breaths, will we? Now, here is Joy Reid at the end of last year on her now axed program, The Readout, fuming that Donald Trump threatened Hamas with a warning demanding that all of the hostages be brought home.
We are seeing a global trend of the far right surging. It isn't just happening here. But let's bring you back to the U.S. and to our local gangster, Donald Trump. He's not even president yet, and he's already spending his time sitting in his golden palace, Mar-a-Lago, muscling other countries like he's Tony Soprano with a social media site. Doing things like, reportedly, debating whether or not to invade Mexico. Threatening BRICS countries, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, with 100% tariffs if they don't commit to trading in dollars and not their own currencies. demanding Hamas release all hostages being held in Gaza before his inauguration, or there will be, quote, all hell to pay in the Middle East.
I mean, demanding Hamas release all of the hostages as soon as possible. Joy Reid, she is the worst of all of them. Now, the president has done what many thought was impossible all through his deal making, and of course, they are upset about it. Watch how Dana Bash reacts when Biden's national security advisor, Jake Sullivan, tells her that, hey, the president, he actually deserves credit for this.
Mark Kelly, the senator from Arizona, was just here. He said President Trump deserves credit. I'm not hearing you say that. I mean, I won't ask you, or maybe I will ask you if you think he deserves a Nobel Prize, but do you think he deserves credit here?
Of course he does. And
I
give credit to President Trump. I give credit to Witkoff and Kushner and Rubio. These are hard jobs. The president of the United States is the hardest job in the world. And these other jobs, including the job I occupy, are tremendously difficult. And to get to something like today takes a village, and it takes determination and really hard work.
I mean, look at her just like, you know, really trying her best just not to make some kind of expression, but her face says it all. She really does not want to hear that. She is clearly so angry that the president has succeeded. Now, when is The View's Alyssa Farah going to do as she promised and put on the Trump hat?
If he does good, if he gets the Israeli hostages out, I promise I will wear a MAGA hat for one day on the show and say, thank you for doing it. Yeah. She'll knock it right off my head. But like, you have to be able to cheer for wins when they happen and then call out relentlessly the wrongdoing.
We're waiting. We are waiting for Alyssa to put on that MAGA hat. Now, of course, the media, they've been wanting to tell you that Donald Trump would fail, and so many would rather do anything else than give credit to the president. It pains them so much. I was on MSNBC's homepage earlier today, and there was nothing about Donald Trump ending the war in Gaza. I mean, a huge moment in history that only happened 2 days ago. Nothing at all about Charlie Kirk today. It is just back to Donald Trump bashing. They even have a story that reads, Trump's corruption takes center stage, as if that is the more important story to be running right now. The outlet MSNBC, along with CNN, they are just such a joke. And so is The View, of course. RFK Jr.'s wife, Cheryl Hines, had to cop it from these crazy leftist hosts when she appeared on the program yesterday. And it was attack after attack about her husband, RFK Jr., because RFK Jr. actually believes in going after Big Pharma, making America healthy again, and wants more research going into certain vaccines. And just watch how The View hosts leap to defend people like Fauci when Cheryl Hines reminds them of this insane period called COVID. And during that time, people everywhere were censored and we were being lied to. Watch this.
Spread a lot of misinformation, a lot of chaos, a lot of confusion, and I think it's just a very dangerous thing. I say it with the utmost respect.
Some of it's good, and some of it's not. That's the point.
Listen, we all have different views here.
Yes.
And when you say, misinformation, disinformation, we could go back to COVID when...
He's connecting circumcision to autism.
May I finish?
Please.
When Fauci people were saying when you get the vaccine, you cannot transmit COVID. It will stop COVID. And that was disinformation, misinformation.
We were also still learning about it. It was a novel virus we've never encountered before.
Right.
Because now the doctors will acknowledge that.
And Dr. Fauci has a medical degree.
At the time, they were censoring Bobby because Bobby said, where's the science to show us this? And there wasn't any. But people attacked him and said, you're wrong. So it's like, let's take a step back. I know that's your opinion.
I mean, it's just so painful to watch. Finally, CBS News, it is in for a shake-up. Now, the brilliant Barry Weiss is the boss, and Barry Weiss has asked staff to explain what they do during work hours and detail what they think is working or not working. But of course, the Writers Guild of America East, which represents some of CBS News employees, has urged staff not to respond because staff have expressed some concern about this email. I mean, concern that the new boss wants to know what you actually do every day. And this also comes after staff have expressed very big concern around how worried they are that Barry Weiss is in charge now. I mean, watch this space. The meltdowns are going to keep on coming.